In the dead of night, inside a glittering penthouse high above the city skyline, a quiet secret unfolded. The wealthy owner expected silence, but instead he stumbled upon a sight he never imagined. A young black cleaner, surrounded by textbooks and scribbled notes, hunched under the faint glow of a dollar store flashlight. She wasn't stealing, she wasn't resting. She was studying advanced equations with a determination that made the millionaire pause in disbelief. What began as irritation quickly spiraled into something far bigger, a clash of privilege and perseverance that would leave everyone questioning what true worth really means. Amelia Johnson was 25, a quiet figure who worked late-night cleaning shifts no one noticed. Each evening, she slipped into luxury apartments after residents had retired, leaving behind spotless kitchens, polished marble floors, and gleaming windows that reflected the city lights. She was invisible, at least to those who lived there. Yet Amelia carried a secret. Between scrubbing floors and dusting crystal chandeliers, she carried textbooks in her worn-out tote bag. By day, Amelia attended a community college, struggling to pay tuition while working double shifts. By night, she became a cleaner in the wealthiest parts of the city, often pushing through exhaustion just to survive. Her dream was to finish an engineering degree, a dream her family back home in the South believed impossible after generations of systemic poverty and prejudice. But Amelia refused to surrender to the weight of those expectations. The penthouse she cleaned belonged to Marcus Langford, a real estate mogul whose fortune was built on ruthless ambition. To him, staff existed only to serve. He never paid attention to who polished his silverware or who vacuumed his rugs. Amelia was just another shadow, someone who made his world tidy without leaving a trace. But on one particular night, after her shift was technically over, Amelia stayed a little longer. She sat cross-legged on the pristine floor with her notes spread across a marble coffee table, a flashlight balanced against a vase worth more than her annual salary. As numbers and formulas filled her page, she lost track of time, until footsteps echoed down the grand staircase. Marcus Langford wasn't used to surprises in his own home. He returned from a late business dinner, still dressed in a designer suit, expecting silence and order. But instead he found Amelia bent over her textbooks, eyes focused with unshakable intensity. At first, confusion clouded his expression. A cleaner studying in the middle of his penthouse at 3 in the morning seemed absurd. But that confusion quickly morphed into irritation. In his world, success was a privilege reserved for those who could afford it, not for those born into struggle. And the idea that someone he considered the help might aspire to the same heights felt, to him, almost insulting. Amelia remained calm under his presence, finishing her notes before carefully closing her book. She had grown used to disapproving stares, the unspoken suggestion that her place was beneath others. The millionaire's glare was nothing new. It was only a louder echo of what society had whispered at her for years. Marcus's irritation wasn't just about finding her there. It was about what she represented. She was defying the invisible rules of class and race that had benefited men like him for centuries. To see her studying calculus, chasing a dream that could one day rival his empire, threatened the delicate superiority he carried like a crown. But beneath his anger, something else stirred. The unshakable focus in her eyes unsettled him. It wasn't the look of someone pretending to be something she wasn't. It was the look of someone who already belonged, even if the world refused to acknowledge it. As the days passed, Marcus couldn't shake what he had seen. Every night Amelia came to clean, he found himself watching her a little closer. He noticed the fatigue in her posture, the way her hands bore the marks of endless scrubbing, and yet her mind stayed sharp and alert.
he realized she worked tirelessly and studied relentlessly without ever asking for recognition. Still, his prejudice whispered louder. He couldn't decide if he admired her or resented her. But fate, as it often does, forced his hand. One evening, Marcus returned home to find Amelia sleeping at the coffee table, her notes scattered around her. Her flashlight had died, but her hand still clutched a pencil. In that moment, something cracked inside him. He saw not a cleaner, but a young woman carrying the impossible weight of dreams in a world stacked against her. And for the first time, Marcus felt small inside his empire of wealth. The breaking point came when Marcus stumbled upon Amelia one night being harassed by a building security guard. The guard, assuming she had no right to linger in the penthouse lobby after her shift, accused her of loitering. His voice was sharp, dripping with condescension, and the undertone was clear: she didn't belong. Amelia stood frozen, caught between humiliation and exhaustion. She knew this wasn't the first time and wouldn't be the last. People looked at her skin, her uniform, and decided her worth before she opened her mouth. Marcus approached from behind, watching the scene unfold. For once he saw what Amelia endured daily: the dismissive tones, the suspicion, the unspoken walls built around race and class. The sight pierced him with an uncomfortable truth: he had been no different. In a rare act of impulse, Marcus intervened, silencing the guard and sending him away. The decision surprised him, but what lingered wasn't the confrontation. It was the realization that Amelia had been fighting not just to clean his home, but to carve out a future in a world determined to keep her locked out. It was in that moment that Marcus's perspective shifted. For the first time, he recognized the courage it took for Amelia to sit under the dim light of a dying flashlight, night after night, chasing knowledge as if her life depended on it, because it did. In the weeks that followed, Marcus's demeanor changed. He began leaving the lights on in his study, subtly creating a space where Amelia could sit undisturbed after her shifts. He never announced it, but she noticed. One evening, he left a brand new lamp on the coffee table beside her books. Another time, a set of advanced engineering guides appeared, placed neatly where she studied. He didn't admit why, but Amelia understood. Over time, word spread quietly in Marcus's circles. Colleagues noticed he began speaking differently about privilege, education, and opportunity. The man who once saw people only by their station started investing in scholarships for underprivileged students. Amelia never asked his help, but her determination ignited something he couldn't ignore. Years later, Amelia walked across a graduation stage in her cap and gown, the weight of her degree in engineering clutched proudly in her hand. Among the crowd sat Marcus, silent and unassuming, watching a young woman prove every doubt wrong. Her journey didn't erase the racism she faced, nor the struggles she endured, but it carved a crack in the walls that kept so many out. She had transformed not just her own future, but also the conscience of a man who had once doubted her very right to dream. And perhaps that's the question we're left with. How many Amelias are out there, carrying books into the night, studying in the shadows, waiting for the world to finally see them?